Hey team, had a really good question about my thoughts and ideas and comments about AAMs versus RCOMs or any other award and the whole submission process. So let's kind of unpack this, and I want to give you a little disclaimer up front. These are my thoughts and my opinions. Your NCO support channel and your chain of command hopefully can help shape things specifically for your organization, and I would definitely recommend talking to each one of them. But in general, I think that there are a few things that are in common, regardless of the organization or the scope of work. So I'm going to try to break this down from maybe a team going off and doing a mission to maybe somebody PCSing and a couple other scenarios as well. I'm looking forward to your thoughts and your comments down below. That way we can continue to keep this conversation rolling, man. And if you're interested in content like this and so much other as it relates to professional development, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Consider sharing it out with a friend or battle buddy. So let's say you do have a team who goes out and does a mission. Maybe it's your team, right? And you go out and maybe you're supporting another organization. Maybe it's a field training exercise. Maybe it's a NTC rotation. Maybe it's whatever it is. And some folks really shot it out of the park, right? And when I say that, I mean that the mission was a success and folks really busted their tails to make it happen. So you come back or they come back, and now you want to start recognizing people for their achievements. So the first thing I would submit to you is don't forget positive event-oriented counselings, right? They mean something, and I don't think we do a well enough job on them. But let's say that they were off supporting a battalion exercise, right? So if somebody's supporting a battalion exercise, and that was the highest echelon that was supported, it's going to kind of knock off anything else above an Army Achievement Award or an AAM. The reason I say that is because the level of impact simply isn't there to justify anything else, right? Think about who's signing the award as the approval authority. Those are the folks that you want to have demonstrated impact on. Before we get going any further, I will try to leave a link in the description over to my Google Drive where you can find some documents that will help you shape and write your awards and NCOERs as well. So look forward to that. So let's say you have a team of 5 or 6 and they shot it out of the park. I would submit that maybe one recommendation for an AAM, and then maybe 1 or 2 COAs, and maybe a coin for somebody. But try to spread love it out a little bit and realize and recognize that everybody on that team did not have the same level of impact to what that team did. Everybody has their own knowledge, skills, and attributes that they bring to the table. But everybody's not the supervisor. Everybody's not the subject matter expert. Everybody's not does that make sense? So while the team as a whole collective may have gotten the job done, odds are it's 1 or 2 that really did it. Let's say that unit that was supported was a brigade. You could certainly consider submitting somebody for an RCOM because that brigade commander is the one who's approving those RCOMs. Now, for any kind of a impact award or achievement award like that, I would submit for an AAM, maybe 1 achievement block filled out is okay. Certainly, the more that you can break down some of those individual tasks and those individual achievements, I would do that. The more that you can sell your soldiers, the harder it is for somebody to say no. So if you're working for an RCOM, then I would submit that you definitely need 2 full achievements that are no fluff words, man. Keep the fluff out of there. Think about impact. Think about the work that was done, right? Work that was done, and then the impact of that specific task. And again, try to break those things down with whatever it is that your team or the team was doing, if that makes sense. for like you're never going to see an impact, achievement award as an MSM. That's just not going to happen. Now, let's say you're doing a lot of field exercises one after another, you got to be cautious and cognizant of the fact that when somebody leaves, you want to try to recognize them for their service to the organization or their service to the Army if they're going to ETS. So, because I say that, because something that may have justified 2 impact AAMs or achievement AAMs in the past, I could have rolled that up into an RCOM when somebody leaves. So be cognizant of that. I can't duplicate achievements on subsequent awards, right? Now, let's say you have somebody who's getting out of the military, right? And they've done, 4 years that's honorable. And again, man, don't forget COAs. I know for some people, they're just pieces of paper for those achievements. But man, I'm telling you, when those junior soldiers, when they become a specialist promotable and they're a corporal, those points are going to dadgum matter to them. So don't take those for granted. Get those templates from your S1 for what your organization needs to see in them, whether it's admin data or for that MFR, for those COAs, and get those dadgum things submitted. So somebody's ETSing, right? And they've done 4 years of honorable service. Or maybe they're PCSing, and they've had 2-3 years at your unit. Odds are, if you look back over the course of their time, there's a lot that y'all have done, whether it's been field exercises, training, inspections, ranges, just all kinds of things that we all do, maintenance, taking care of property. Everything that everybody does has an impact. So trying to be able to capture that on an award, I think, is important, and we need to think, when it comes to timing for an achievement award, man, it should be like 7 days after we get back during that recovery, we should be writing those awards. For somebody who's ETSing or PCSing, you need to look at that date that their leave is going to start. Maybe back up a couple weeks for a presentation date from that, knowing that they're going to be clearing and people are starting to be extremely mindful of the steps that they need to take to carry on with their life. And then for that AAM, you need to have that thing submitted to the battalion 30 days prior, right? For an RCOM, it's going to need to be 60 days prior to that proposed presentation date, right? Not the date that they're reporting, not the date that their leave ends, to the date when you want to recognize this person in public and say thank you for your time and thank you for your service. I think we owe that to each and every single one of our service members, just some kind of a thank you publicly. For an MSM, we're looking at 90 days or more, and that's to the battalion, right? So you got to get it through your NCO support channel and your chain of command from the company, and make sure that company gets it submitted on time. Otherwise, you just need to write a letter of lateness, and sometimes things happen, whether they get picked up to go to a SVAB, maybe it's an IPT, whatever the case is. It's okay, and it's too easy to write that letter of lateness, but when it's not okay and when it will raise some eyebrows is when we as leaders, if we failed that service member. So, can a junior soldier receive an RCOM? Absolutely, man. I've seen it. In my particular organization, because of the level that I'm at, it is echelons above brigade and division that all of my folks are supporting. So I see a lot of not only achievement AMs, I do see multiple achievement RCOMs. And a lot of those are for those junior soldiers and some of those junior non-commissioned officers. And if you're a senior NCO, don't forget about recognizing the hard work of those NCOs as well. The more people buy into the organization, and when I say the organization, I don't just mean the Army, although I do mean the Army, but I mean that battalion, that company, that platoon. The more that we're bought into who we are as a team, the more that you're going to get out of all of our battle buddies and all of those who are in our charge, right? So there's a lot to be said there as well. But by all means, if that junior soldier impacted a battalion event, AAM, If they impacted a brigade or higher, we can start talking about RCOMs. I would submit to you that, let's say you go do an NTC rotation, right? And ultimately you're supporting, whether you're attached to that brigade combat team or maybe you were sent down to support them and you're not necessarily assigned or attached to them on a full-time basis. You may have had an impact to that brigade, but did that one achievement warrant or justify sending this up to a brigade commander? The answer may be no, and that's why you need to really build your case so that nobody can say no. When you put your name on it as a recommender, you want to challenge people to say no. Does that make sense? Like, don't give them the opportunity to say no. Write it so well with detailed percentages, detailed tasks, detailed impact, that it would be foolish and unwise for anybody to say no. And so when you put your name on it, man, that's a stamp of your word and your integrity. And the more that you build that up and the more trust and respect that the organization has with you as an individual and with you as a leader, the more they're going to, the more they're going to trust you, right? So I hope that makes sense. I think that's all I got, team. I hope that helps answer some questions and some thoughts and some concerns that some of y'all have had about these types of the process for awards. Definitely leave some comments down below if there's something specific. I know we talked a lot of generalities, but if there's a specific question, then make sure you drop it in the comments. That way we can either engage in a conversation or maybe it'll be a future follow-on video, man. Team, I'm telling you, a lot of the videos that you see were a direct response to a question that you had as a viewer and as a subscriber. And I'm a firm believer in the community that we're building and growing. So anything I can do to help make that as authentic as a realization as I can, I'm all for it. So the team will keep this conversation rolling, man. I'm looking forward to it. Y'all, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.